Review Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. My name is Kevin Cheng and I'll be conducting this evening's meeting. Will you please stand and join me for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Staff, may we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Chair. Committee Member Wong.
Present.
Committee Member Cho.
Present.
Committee Member Glaucon.
Present.
Vice Chair Bagnich.
Present.
Chair Chang.
Present.
All present.
Thank you. I'll first go over the procedures for this evening's meeting. Each committee member has received plans and has reviewed every item on the agenda and has visited each site. The general order for hearing each case will be as follows. The committee will ask staff any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public and the chair will ask for comments for, against, or about the project. In all cases, please come forward and state your name and address. And if you could limit your comments to 2 minutes, that'd be very much appreciated. At the conclusion of the public comments, the public hearing will be closed and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask for comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DRC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped that the applicant will have heard comments during the public comment period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is also important to know that the property owner understand that once a project is approved by DRC, the drawings do become legal documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval of those changes, the property owner is in fact breaking the law. There is a risk of having to change the project back to the originally approved design or paying a fine to the City of San Marino equal to the greater of 5% of the project value or $2,500, and then resubmitting the changes made to the project back to the DRC. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after an action has been taken for the applicant or any interested parties to request the Planning Commission to review or act on a case. After all the agenda items have been heard, 2 design review committee members will conduct an open forum. It is at this time residents or their representatives may ask committee members about current or future projects relating to their property. Committee members can discuss the design with you, but cannot comment on how they may vote on the project. At this time, we'll open it to public comment. If there's any members of the public that have come this evening to speak on non-agendized items, now would be the time. That would be non-agenda items. Yes. Please come forward. State your name and address.
My name is A.C. Mahone, and I'm referring to the project on 1685 West Haven. It's not on the agenda. And the question, we have a couple of questions we wanted to present, some options.
So that would be for the open forum at the end of the evening?
At the end?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any members that like to speak on items that are non-agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to our first agenda item of the evening. Staff?
Thank you, Chair. The first agenda item of the evening is the oath of office for our new committee member, Rick Chow. Would you please stand? Please repeat after me. I, state your name, please.
Rick Chow,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely
and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And this concludes your oath of office. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Committee Member Chow. Now we'll move on to our first public hearing agenda item number 2. Staff?
Thank you, Chair. This agenda item number 2 is design review case number DRC 19-68 for the location at 2540 Monterey Road. The applicant is proposing to construct a first and second story addition to an existing 2-story building. Additionally, there will be a new detached 3-car garage and exterior modification. The project does involve removal of 4 trees on the property, and these tree removal are subject to city's approval, and city arborist report is also provided in your packets for your review to demonstrate that the project is attempting to preserve the trees on the property. In terms of the design review findings, staff is able to find that the proposed addition is compatible with the neighborhood with respect to massing and scale. The home and the new garage will have consistent color, material, and style consistently carried throughout. Staff does not anticipate any privacy concern as a result of the addition. And this concludes the staff report. Staff would like to read into the record that the neighborhood map provided in your staff report contained an error. The latest count for the neighborhood map is actually 4 approved, with 9 no response and 0 objection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members?
Yes, I have a question. So according to our neighbor letter summary, 563 La Mirada, I believe, should have been noticed, and it's not indicated that they were noticed, so I'm not sure if we're able to discuss this agenda item.
So can staff confirm if 563 was supposed to be a home to be noticed?
563 La Mirada is not on the legal neighborhood list.
My understanding of the legal neighborhood, having been through this once before, is that all properties adjoining the rear of the lot and each property on either side of the adjoining property are to be noticed. All properties adjoining the rear of the lot and each property on either side of the adjoining property.
I have to apologize that, Vice Chair, you are correct. This particular property has 2 adjoining property to the rear, so that would also include the property located at 563 La Mirada. For that reason, because this neighbor was not notified, we will have to table this item for a different date. I apologize for that issue.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair Banish, to raise that. So given that it's been on the agenda and notice to if there's anyone that is participating to speak today, is it okay? Are we allowed to listen to any public comment?
You are, because with the issue of the 563 La Mirada neighbor
Right.
is not here, all other member of the couple
We
is
just can't take
welcome to.
action.
Correct.
All right. Are there any other questions for staff or committee members? Seeing none, Missy?
Yes, I have.
Committee member
Well,
Banish?
it's actually about the plan, so maybe it's not appropriate to address that today because we're not discussing.
Is it a clarification?
It is a clarification.
Okay. I think it's proper to ask what the clarification
Okay,
is.
that's fine. So there's a discrepancy on the plans, I think, submitted today regarding the garage. On the front page of our plans, it has the residential plan information sheet. It says the garage is 34 by 21. I'm sorry, this is the incorrect property, excuse me. I made a mistake.
Okay. Any further questions for staff or committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? If you could please come forward. You're welcome to present the project. However, we will not be able to take action this evening, and there would have to be an additional hearing. at which time all neighbors in the legal neighborhood have been noticed. So you're welcome to speak, or you can wait for the next hearing.
I think I can speak.
Thank you.
So, good evening, Chairman and committee members. My name is Vanessa Sito. I'm the owner of 2540 Monterey Road. So, let me give you some background on the plan. So, the plan was approved by DRC, but it expired in December 2018. So, I purchased this house in June this year. The plan you're reviewing now is exactly the same as the one that was approved before. We didn't change anything, except that I added a new landscape plan. The landscape architect did an amazing job. They actually turned my yard into mini gardens. And I hope I can make this a better living place for my family and add values to the neighborhood. The current house consists of 2 units, the main house and the guest house. The idea of combining them into one single unit on the plan is the reason behind my purchase. The plan actually proposed to remove the outdoor stairs and the walkway leading from the main house to the guest house, and then add a bedroom on the first floor. As my mom will be living with us, it will be easier for her to move around the house under this configuration. On the landscape plan, I also add in a ramp for on the patio for easy access. So I did some research on how the previous owner came up with this design. They made a few improvements to address all the concerns from the neighbor at the DRC. And I intended to live in this house with my family. And actually, I was hoping that DRC can approve this for a second time. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant from committee members?
Excuse me.
Seeing none. Are you the applicant? Okay,
Architect.
sure. Can you please state your name and address?
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Freeman. I'm architect for this project, 9923 Nanking Street, Temple City. And the existing situation is 2-story main house. It's 2 bedroom, 2 beds, and 2-car garage is 20 by 18. Is not non-conforming. Right now, city require 20 by 20 inside, and another building is guest house is like 558 square feet. So, you know, the 2-car garage is facing to the street. The Monterey Road kind of very busy, so it's very difficult every time back up to the street. So I'm jumping. I redesign. Remove the guest house and rebuild the 3-car garage. So we have a 10-year run who can direct head to the street easy, get out the street. And this lot is 50% bigger than the adjacent neighbor. So it's okay to provide a 3-car garage. And my proposal is only 2-story portion is only this area, and it's very low profile. And the 1-story addition is right here. 2-story only this portion. Actually, it's not the same as the existing. It's very low profile. And since I removed the guest house 558, then I transfer to the main house. So actually, the addition, the total addition is only 48 square feet, and more than the existing. And I call this like colonial. You know, we normally design one side 2-story, one side is 1 story. Is typical. And I have the material for and rendering. And I do the square footage calculation. Based on the FAR. This probably is on the middle. It's not the highest, it's not the lowest. The bottom one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm here to answer the question.
Are there any questions for the architect? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Okay, for the jury, I including the 563 it's on the list. La Mirada.
He included the 563 for his copy.
Oh, good,
So,
yes,
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
We'll now move it to public comment. If there's any members of the public who'd like to come forward to speak for, against, or about the project, now would be the time.
Hi, good evening, Chairman. Good evening, committee members. My name is Ron Gong. I'm at 539 La Mirada. And basically, I've come here to see the plans because I've never seen any of the drawings that they're proposing for 2540 Monterey, and that's adjacent to my backyard. So I think when the homeowner came by, they didn't have, or whoever the representative homeowner came by, and I wasn't home, unfortunately, but my partner was home. She did not see any plans, and I didn't see any plans on what this proposal looked like, and nor did we see anything back in 2010 when this was originally proposed, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, what year was that? The first time it was proposed?
2017.
Looks like the application was submitted in November of 17, so almost 2 years ago.
So I don't know who, if they came around or not at that time either. So, you know, and I'm not necessarily for or against. I just don't know what it is.
Okay.
So, so if I could just voice my concerns and just see what the project is before I, you know, voice my approval.
So it appears that you have that opportunity, as we won't be acting on this item this evening.
Okay.
And I would implore the applicant to reach out to all neighbors with the plans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to come forward to speak for or against about the project? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move to committee member discussions. Committee member Wong? I'm sorry? I'm sorry. We're not taking action this evening, so we will forego the discussions and continue. Do we need a motion for continuance?
No, the item will return on November 6th.
November 6th, okay. So for all those interested, this item will be continued to November 6th, at which time we will have committee member discussions and take action on the agenda item. We will now move on to our next agenda item. Staff?
Thank you, Chair. Item number 2 is design review case number DRC 19-17, located at 1706 Hillier Drive. The applicant is proposing to construct a single-story addition and exterior modification to the existing single-story home located at the corner lot. Staff is able to make the finding for compatibility. The single-story addition would not be taller than the existing building, and the addition will introduce a new entry porch and a new family room. Because this is a single-story addition and the building will remain quite a distance away from adjacent neighbors, there will be no significant privacy impacts on neighbors. However, staff is concerned with the introduction of a double skylight next to the new entry door and 2 skylights immediately above the entry porch. And additionally, staff finds that the proposed lighting fixture is too modern for this particular style and recommends that the architect select a more traditional style with frosted or seated glass. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Committee member Banish?
Yes, I'm asking the right question at the right time now for the right house. So the residential plan information sheet says the garage is 30 by 20. but the plans show the garage would be 21 by 21, which is a discrepancy. If you think that I should ask this of the applicant, I can ask the applicant. I'm just wondering if there's any clarity on that.
Sure. It is a two-car garage, so the information on the residential worksheet is incorrect. So the information on your site plan is correct. It's a 21 by 21 garage.
Okay, so the plans are correct, but the information sheet is not. Is that,
Yes.
does that affect, does that have any effect on anything else? Yeah. Yes, the information sheet has wrong information.
Are there any other questions for staff and committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present?
Yes. Is there a way I can project this?
I have to wait a minute. The system's starting up.
Do I have to plug it in?
Yes.
Never mind. I got the wrong one. It's a HDMI.
Is it a real presentation that you need to use or images that you want to show?
It's just a representation of the set and then the spec sheet for the light fixtures.
You're welcome to turn on your machine and have them facing the committee. You're welcome to turn on your machine and use your monitor as a display to the committee member. However, the presentation you're giving to the committee, you will have to provide a hard copy to me. Thank you.
Committee members, committee chair, good evening. My name is Eric Lin, and 2570 Canterbury. And it is my privilege to present this project for you on behalf of my client. I want to also thank planning staff for their diligence and input throughout this process. The project actually started as a two-story addition, but through various meetings with Christine and now with Eva, we feel that we have a project that is both appropriate and compatible to the neighborhood. The existing home currently has 2 bedrooms and 1 and 2 baths, with an existing ground coverage of 2,453 square feet. That includes the garage, and it is 21 by 21. I apologize that the information on the sheet is incorrect. I can make that change. The existing livable is 1,790 square feet. Our proposal, I believe, is a modest one. We'd like to add 105 square feet to the ground coverage, which is the family room portion that pops out to the back, and essentially 152 square feet to the total livable square footage. And that is including the covered portion to the front, the portion to the front, and the family room. And so that makes a total for ground coverage of 2558 and 1945 square feet for livable. And that's essentially just a 4% increase on the footprint of the building and 8% to occupiable space. The overall project will net 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. We were able to accomplish this all within the, essentially mainly within the, mainly by rearranging the spaces in between. And as I mentioned, we've only had to add 105 square feet to the lot coverage to accommodate that. We believe the renovation is a modest one. The renovation will include updates to all the windows. It's aluminum clad. We will select one that is off the list of the city approved. And the exterior finishes will maintain as is. Essentially, it is a stucco sand finish. And roof tiles will also stay the same. We're not changing the roof at all. To address the staff's concerns with regards to the silent in the front door, we are adding to the front of the house, which creates a very large plane. And we felt that, or large facade, we felt that just having a single door there did not appropriately break up that entire plane in the front. I wish I had the projection today to show that to you, but essentially on the elevations, elevations, if you can take a look at sheet 6. In the lower portion, it shows the existing condition where it has a jog back for entry. We are claiming that square footage, and by doing so, we will be pulling that plane all the way across to the other side. And so we felt that a door and side light would be a nice addition to just break up that plane. And also from the interior, the living room is centered on that space, and therefore the door and side light, we again felt was the appropriate design for that space. The second thing staff mentioned was the inconsistency of the roof pitch in the rear. We had gone through, Sam and I had actually gone through a couple of design iterations where we did consider having the roof slope at the same 4 and 12 as the rest of the house. However, because of the width of the house, the slope will cause a jog in the ridge line that is seen from the street. And we felt that this design is more appropriate because it hides the admission to the back, it gives the privacy back. And again, it reinforces the fact that we're not really changing anything to the front, to the exterior shell of the house. And I do have a spec sheet for the proposed light fixture, and I will provide the hard copy to Eva tomorrow, but I can show that to you right now. It is essentially just a very nondescript light fixture. We felt that it is appropriate for the design because it is more of the project is more of a minimal traditional. There's not too much to it. We are adding it to the back where the porch is, and also we have 2 in the front door. So it's a minimal impact in terms of where it goes. Anyways, we feel that we feel that the project is a fairly modest project, and I hope that the community feels the same way, and my favor of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant from community members?
I have a question. I wasn't quite able to find this, it may be in your plans, but is the roof height going to change on any part of the existing home, like not the addition?
No.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for community member Lakon?
In the plans, you indicate that I thought it was going to be a cedar light roof,
Yes.
but the roof on the house right now is not cedar. So you said you're not changing the roof, or you are?
We're not changing the roof. I believe it is concrete tile, cedar light color. Cedar light is the color, right? It's not.
It's not this type of roof.
I do know that the project has a concrete tile roof, which we are going to maintain.
Okay, it's a different color than this one on your plans.
Is it? Okay, understood. I'll make that change.
Are there any other questions for
to the applicant, on the 2 skylights on the west elevation, is it a flat skylight or is it a dome skylight?
It's flat. We're proposing Velux FCM, which is a fixed curve mount. It's a flat skylight.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll now move to public comment. If there's any members of the public that can come forward to speak for or against about this project, now would be the time.
Well, I will. I'll say it. I get very nervous and I'm sorry. I've lived next door to this house for 50 years.
Could you please state your name and give your address?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mary Patterell, and at 1714 Hilliard Drive, San Marino. And the design that I received, because I received the plans, and I don't know much about plans, but it looks totally different than any of the other houses on the street. Most of the houses are 3 and 2 bedroom houses, and the design that I was given is nothing like anything that fits in with that street. And the lights that he's talking about at this time house that's now, they go on automatically and they go right into one of my bedrooms. So I'm not happy with it at all. So that's all I have to say. Do you want to add anything else, Tom?
Sure. I mean, so my name is Tom Hilmar. I am Mary's son-in-law, 1714 Hilliard. My father-in-law passed away last year, and I've been helping Mary with the upkeep of the house and handiwork and things like that. So I've been a part of the family for over 20 years, so I know the home very well. I know the history of the next door, neighbors and everything. So I know that the concern is more the aesthetic of what the new home or the new changes are in the community versus what it's like now. And again, like she said, I'm not I'm not an architect and I don't read plans, but I think it would be very helpful for us to get a better understanding of exactly what it's going to be like. Maybe his presentation would have been something good, or maybe we can see that at a later time, or he can share it with us so we can actually take a look at that. It would be helpful to see some actual colors, pictures, things like that. I don't know if this is the time or the place to say it, but I feel it's my duty to say it. I feel right now that the upkeep of the home in the backyard is in bad disarray. And in the meantime, I think it would be very important. I've tried to speak to Mr. Severn, and he's told me it's a civil matter, but I think it's very important for somebody to come by and look at the backyard. There's a lot of leaves and berries and mosquito infestation. There's a lot of problems there. So in the interim, before anything is done, I think somebody needs to come and oversee that and see if there's anything that we can do with the homeowners. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you very much.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to come forward to speak for or against about the project?
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Alfred Rothschild. I live at 1730 Hilliard, and I've been there for 48 years. We have a rather nice community right at Hilliard. And I know that things change, but I don't think that this particular design will really add anything to what is a fine part of the community. And I don't see that there is adequate space for kids to enjoy a yard. It's been a sort of a heart-rending kind of a, I don't know exactly how to say it. As far as I'm concerned, it does not fit into the area of the street. In order to do that, you have to really take a look at the street, which I'm sure that you either have or will do. And no, I'm not in favor of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If there's any other members of the public that like to come forward? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move to committee member discussions. Committee member Wong.
Based on the staff report and my review, I can see that the addition is a total of 152 square feet, which is mainly from the front and also at the side. The applicant represented that the roof will remain the same as existing roof, And the exterior of the building basically is going to be kept intact. So as a result, based on the facts presented to me, I think there is ground for support.
Thank you. Committee Member Chow?
I visited the site and I looked at the plans and I studied the findings. I think from the guidelines point of view, the applicant's plan basically meet all the requirements. However, I do question the roof pitch over the family room addition. But I understand that it's not visible from the street, and also if the slope increases, then it actually will be visible, might be visible from the street. So I think the 412 pitch, I don't really have a big issue because of that, because it's flatter in the back. The skylight issue, I would think that the skylight being in the front, it might be a little bit jarring. So I would think that I would agree with the staff's finding that there shouldn't be any skylights west facing in the front. Lastly, the colors and materials, according to the plans, I think it's all seems pretty reasonable. So I could support that.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Benj.
I just want to first acknowledge that, listening to the neighbors, what I hear is a lot of fear that this is a very big change to this house, and I believe that this is not a really significant change to the extent that the neighbors would feel a big difference. This is just my opinion. I don't want the neighbors to think that we're not, listening. As far as everything goes, yeah, the side lights don't seem compatible with the style of a home. And as far as, sorry, I'm talking about the side lights at the front door. And as far as the skylights, of course, I'm most concerned about the skylights in the front facing the west because, our design guidelines say that window treatments should match the architectural style of the house. And as far as the style of the house, we're going for a minimal traditional here. So in a traditional neighborhood. So, by that I mean not a neighborhood full of minimal traditionals, but a traditional architectural neighborhood. So the skylights are really incompatible with the design of the existing home, with the proposed home and the neighborhood. So that's my main concern, is with the skylights and the side lights. As far as I understand that there's 2 trees to be removed that do not need to be removed, and I would also hope that our final decision would intend that those trees not be removed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee Member Lakon.
Thank you. I agree with Committee Member Benish regarding the side lights. I don't find those compatible in the neighborhood. I did go through the neighborhood and I went to all the homes in the legal neighborhood, and I found a lot of similarities. Each house has a single door, each house has one light. Most of the houses have a single gable of forward facing. And all of the homes had traditional window patterns in their house. So what I most find that I could not support in this project is the new windows, the size and the placement. I feel like they don't let enough light into the house, and there's too much as plain stucco surface on the outside, and it leaves the architecture very flat and sterile. And I know right now it's not looking so great, the house itself, but to make it more stucco, because those windows seem very small that they're adding, I feel like the rest of the neighborhood has, if it's not a Spanish style, it's a traditional that has wood cladding on the sides and a combination with stucco, or some brick facade, especially on the side of the house, but also within the porch and on the walkway, so it ties it all together. So it's a much more traditional feeling neighborhood cohesively, and to have a house that's all stucco with smaller windows and a modern front that's very white in color, I think is really going to stand out on that corner and not be compatible. So it's not so much the size. I think the addition is fine, but to have that stand out like that, I think is not going to be compatible. So that part I cannot support.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I would agree with most of the comments made with respects to the renovation. I think it is a modest renovation. I think the architectural style of the house as it stands is not very impressive. However, you know, in looking at renovations and our design guidelines, we need to look at whether the renovations would be compatible with itself and the neighborhood. I would say the home as it exists is probably one of the lesser compatible homes on the block to date. That's inherent kind of in my respects of what I see with regards to the home. However, the addition with some conditions would, I believe, improve the home. And I think it would add to the neighborhood. However, I would think that the skylights facing the west would have to be eliminated, and the front door reselected, as well as the light fixtures that staff suggested be seated or frosted as to control the light exposure. Given some conditions, I'd be able to support the project. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I would like to move to continue design review case number DRC 19-17-1706 Hilliard Drive.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wong?
Yes.
Commissioner Chow?
Yes.
Commissioner Lakon?
Yes.
Vice Chair Batnich?
Yes.
Chair Chang?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 4 for the evening. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Agenda item number 4 is design review case number DRC-1936, located at 1435 Circle Drive. The applicant is proposing to install a material that is on the city's pre-approved material list. However, the color is not on the list, and the proposed material does not meet the specific requirement noted on the pre-approved list. Staff would like to provide a little history on this particular request. The property contains 4 buildings on the property. 2 of the buildings already has the requested material on it with an approval from DRC in 2016. At the time, the DRC approved these 2 structures to have there's certain landmark material to be installed. It was at the approval time, the DRC conditioned that future roof material replacement will need to match the material that the DRC was approving at that time. However, the DRC approval was only valid for 1 year, being that in 2019, the property owner is ready to replace a portion of one of the structure on the property. One being that the prior approval is no longer valid. That is the reason why the applicant is in front of the committee. However, staff is unable to support this request at this time because the request will result in the main residence building having the traditional wood shake material on the 2-story portion of the building facing the street. And the request is to replace only the 1-story portion of the main building that is facing the backyard. although this one-story portion is not visible from the street. No less, at the end of the day, we will have one main residential building with 2 different roofing material on it, and that is something that the design guideline discourage. And at the same time, I would like to mention that this will leave one building on the property with the traditional wood shake on it.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff regarding this project? Seeing none, thank you very much. Is the applicant present?
Hello everyone, my name is Chris Noble of Noble Roofing, and I'm here to represent Mr. and Mrs. Ellis on the property.
Can you state your address, your business address, please?
300 Sycamore Glen, Pasadena.
Thank you.
On the property, there's one correction to that. There are 2 buildings with wood shingles on it right now. So basically, there's 3 structures on the property. There's the main house that has the single-story addition, which is on the west side of the house, which is not visible from the street. There's a garage guest house with an attached 2-car garage down below. The garage guest house itself is wood shingles. The 1-story garage roof is a composition shingle that was approved in 2016. In between those, well, sort of west of those 2 buildings, but sort of in between them is an auxiliary structure. That building has the composition shingles that was approved in 2016. So that leaves the main house, which is sort of north to south, which parallels Circle Drive, which has the 1-story addition in the rear of the house. That's the portion of the roof that she wants to re-roof. The house was re-roofed 9 years ago with wood shingles, with the exception of the parts that were done with the composition shingles, and with the exception of this 1-story portion, because those roofs weren't bad at the time. The property has had different years of construction to it. That's how come the roofs are of different ages. The 1-story portion of the roof at the rear is probably about 10 or 12 feet away from the auxiliary structure. So those 2 roofs are 1-story and very close to each other. So when you're in the backyard, you see that structure and the 1-story structure. You can barely see the 2-story structure. Also too, from that 1-story portion of the roof, that is closer to the, I don't know if you want to call it arroyo or canyon. So she fears that if there was a fire, that's the closest portion of the roof to canyon. So she would like that to be composition shingles. The rest of the house still has about 15 to 17 years left on the roof, and she does not want to re-roof the rest of the house at this time. So she feels that for something that she will only see in her backyard, because due to the canyon, the house behind it is probably 150, 200 yards away, approximately. She feels that she would hope you guys would approve this 1-story structure, because when you're in the backyard, that's what you're going to see. If you put wood shingles on this, or make her put wood shingles on that, now she's going to have 2 structures very close to each other in the backyard that do not match each other. So that way, I think it's most compatible for the property. I do understand where San Marino does not want 2 roofs on 1 structure, and I wouldn't want to roof 2 roofs on 1 structure. But in this case, I think it actually does apply, and I think it does work. So that's my pitch.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant from committee members?
I'm sorry. The roofing material you're bringing today is the same one that they put on a few years ago?
Correct, and I have some shingles here if you'd like to see it. Yes, it's the same material. And well, I guess.
And same color?
Same color, same everything, and she did say she can't find the letter. She signed a letter saying that in the future, that if she was to roof, she had to use this material. I know the approval is for 1 year, but her statement was, and she can't find a copy of it, but her statement was that it didn't say for 1 year approval. So she feels strongly that she signed that paper, gave it to the city of San Marino, that she should be able to do it. Now, she never was able to produce a copy of that, so that's her telling me. So.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll now open up to public comments if there's any members of the public to speak about, for, or against this project. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to committee member discussions. Committee member Laycock.
I understand the applicant's concern with the fire, and I think it's an unusual property and it's an unusual situation. I can support the project.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Banish.
It is an unusual property to some extent, but we just don't have two different kinds of roofs on a property in San Marino. It doesn't really matter how far away it is. It's not really so far away that, I don't know, I can't support two different roofs on one property. I think the homeowner needs to choose one and go with it.
Thank you. Committee member Chow.
I think I can support the project for the following reasons. I think I consider, I have to take into consideration that it all started at the two structures at the composition tiles approved. So now with this structure in the backyard really not in the public's view, I think it will not hinder anything aesthetically. So I think I can approve that.
Thank you. Committee member Wong.
It is indeed a very unique situation, and I share the comments made by my fellow committee members. In principle, I would also not support a building with different roof structures. However, given the fact that this is in the back of the property and the canyon situation and historical development of the entire structure, and the fact that the new proposed roof would not be visible, I would give my vote to that, but I want to quantify that it is really a very exceptional situation given the history, the location, and the situation.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in agreement with what my fellow committee member Wong just stated. I think in most circumstances we would not allow a mixture of materials. However, specific to this property and its site and the location, I can see why they're doing it. You know, I believe the applicant mentioned that the existing wood shake roof has at least another 15 to 17 years. So to force the applicant homeowner to replace that as well, so that the Serpentine Landmark TL product would be on all structures, may be a little bit much for us to request. Given that the homeowner is trying to improve and maintain their property, I think that this exception for this instance would be applicable, and I would be able to support the project. Do we have a motion?
I propose to approve DRC case 19-36.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Roll call, please.
Committee member Wong,
Yes.
Committee member Chow,
Yes.
Committee member Laycock,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batnich,
No.
Chair Chang,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our fifth agenda item for the evening. Staff.
Chair, I would like to go on record that item number 5 is being pulled from the agenda.
Okay.
It is not a relevant item for tonight.
Okay, very good. We'll then move on to our last agenda item for the evening, agenda item number 6, which is the approval of meeting minutes for the meeting of September 4th, 2019. There was some discussion that, well, are there any comments for corrections from committee members in their review of the notes?
Yes. I would like to, I have two changes. One is, so they're both regarding 1735 West Drive. The first change would be to strike the words on this second paragraph, which begins with Paul, to strike the words submitted and, because I think that could be a little misleading. And my second change would be on the second to last paragraph, which starts with committee. would be to strike the word tonight and add the words with no conditions.
Okay. Are there any other corrections to the meeting minutes from committee members? With those corrections, do we need a motion, or can we just approve the meeting minutes with those comments?
We do need motion.
Okay. Can we have a motion for those changes?
I'll make a motion. I will move to approve the regular, minutes for the Design Review Committee, minutes from September 4th, 2019, with the following changes. Submitted and would be deleted. Tonight would be deleted, followed by the words with no conditions.
Do we have a second? Committee Member Laycon with the second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Chu,
Yes.
Committee Member Laycon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batnich,
Yes.
Chair Chang,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. At this time, we will move to open forum, where we will have two members of the committee meet with anyone who has questions about their project. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.